notepad, right? And yesterday only I told you that why do we doing that, right? Why do we creating that package using command prompt? Because you see, you should know what are the basics, right? What are the basics? How we can create a user-defined package? How we can create a user-defined package and where to store it? For that, the only basic way was making use of command prompt and notepad. That's why we learned that. But now, as we are working on IntelliJ, right? As we are working on IntelliJ, so for that purpose, we will create a package using IntelliJ today. Alright. So if you guys want to work on your IntelliJ, you can go on and work. Alright. For that, I'll make you guys my whole screen visible now. Okay, before moving ahead, guys, please let me know if my whole screen is visible to you. Okay, okay. For creating a package in IntelliJ, what you have to do is go on the file, then new, then open a new project. Alright. Then you will find you will check the latest version SDK file. And if it is so, if you have the latest version, then go to the next. And now, first, what we used to do is we used to click on this checkbox, right? We used to click on this checkbox, create project by from templates. But this time you have to avoid that. Just go and next. All right. Give a name to a project. For example, I will make a package name as what should I name it? Okay, I'll name it as my name. So here I named it. Right. Then finish. Then a pop-up will come. It will say that if you want to work on new window or not. So we will work on new window. Here is our new window. Wait till it completely load. I told you guys already, right? My PC is not that top notch, so it would take all the loading time in the world. So now, here you can see an NGP is written, our project name is written, means our project is created. Right? And now inside that we have to create a package. So wait till it gets load and then you will find one SRC file. SRC file. SRC folder actually. SRC folder. Source folder. So what you have to do is click on that folder, right click and go on the new option. Then you will see one package option over there. One package option. Click on that and now you have to name your package. Now you have to name your package. For naming, for creating a package, for naming a package, you have to write first com dot then name of your package and name of your package. Alright. So here I'll name my package as city. Okay. Com dot city. I named my package as com dot city and then press enter. Now you see here a package has been created, right? Com.city, a package has been created by us. Alright. Now we need to create one class in it. Now we need to create one class in it. Alright. So for creating a class in that, you have to right click on that package, then go on new, then Java class. For creating a Java class, you know what you need to do, right? You know what you need to do. Just type the name of the class. Just name of the class. What should I name my class? Let's say CHD. CHD. I name my class as CHD. And then dot Java. And then enter. Here you will see package com.city will be there. So it will be there. Means we have created our package successfully. Right? Which means we have created a package successfully. Which is name of the package is city, right? Name of the package is city. And inside that package, we have created our class name as CHD. Name as CHD. Right? So inside that package, inside that class, we will create one method just to provide functionality to that class. That's it. Okay, just to provide the functionality to this class. Okay, so let's give it a functionality as we will take number from the user and we will display it as dollar. Okay, we will display it as a dollar. For that, we will require a method named as public access and static and we'll give the return type to our method string, and then we should name our method something, right? What should we name it? KK. We will name our method as KK, and then inside that method we will accept a value. Let's say a double value variable val. Alright, then inside our method, we will return string with a formatted output. Formatted output. That's why we write format. Alright. Then inside that we have a statement, a conversion statement. Okay, conversion statement. So we will be requiring a dollar sign, right? Because we are converting the input value into dollar. That's why we will be requiring a dollar sign. And you see, we are taking a double value. Right? So for that, we need to use this percent dot to f, which means we will accept value till second decimal, right? We will accept value till second decimal, and it will take value from this val variable. Okay, it will take value from this val variable and colon, then just like colon. All right, you can see here, like in the upper right corner, there is no red mark, right? There is no red mark. Means There is no error in your program. There is no error in your program. Alright, for just confirmation, we'll try to run this if there is any error or not. We'll try to compile it. Okay, is there any run button? No, right? There is no run button. There is no run button. If you click on the class, then right click, you will see there is no run button. So the only option to check if it is right or not is you see there is no error, no red mark over there. Means there is no error. There is no error in your program. Alright. So understood how we will create a package, and inside that package how we will create a class. Understood this much? Just let me know so that we can move ahead. Understood this much or not? Please let me know so that we can move ahead. Okay, only Shravanti, Parvati, and Vasavi got understood. Then what about the rest? I know, guys, it's Saturday. I know it's Saturday, hard weekend, and you guys are still stuck here. I can understand. Okay, Shravanti says, so why do we not get any run option? Even I don't know, Shravanti. Even I don't know because I didn't work much on this package creating stuff, so even I don't know. If you find on YouTube or somewhere else, no, just let me know again so that I can convey. Even I don't know why we don't have a run button in that. But you see, when we were using command prompt, right? When we were using command prompt, we could have we can compile our package also, right? We can compile our package class also in the command prompt. But here we are not getting an option, right? Um, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, Shanti, I don't think so. Because we have performed some classes right, in previous lectures, like you know, in first unit or second unit, we have performed some classes which do not have main in them. Oh yes, you could be right. Okay, at one time you could be right because we don't have main method, right? Or here we don't have any main method. So that's why we cannot. That's why maybe we cannot run it as a main. It could be one of the reason. Okay, it could be one of the reason. I cannot confirm this because I did not study in deep. So can we change it into a main? Okay, if we change it into main, no, I think we will be requiring the main method. Then is there any rename option? We have to create the new class then. Uh, I don't think so. That could be reason, okay. That could be reason that we don't have main class, right? That's why we could not run it as a main. even if we convert that main method into the main, it still does not support the. At least check once on the internet so that we can confirm it. Because even I don't know why don't we have the run button. Alright, so this is how you will create a package, and inside that package you will create a class. CSD is our class which we have created inside our package. Okay, so now we need to implement it, right? We need to implement this class, this package class, we need to implement it in some class. So for that, in the source file itself, we will create one class. Okay, then we will name it something. What shall we name it? MHD. We name this class as MHD.java. Alright, MHD.java, then enter. Here we have one new class. Okay, in this new class, we will import our package that we created. Right, we will import that package. Okay, once it works, okay, it's working. Import what was the name of the package? com.city, right? com.city. Then we will implement that particular class only. We will implement that particular class. For that, we will name, what was the name of the class then? CHD, right? The name of the class was CHD. CHD, and then semicolon over there. Okay. Now we have our class. Alright. Inside our class, we will have our main method. Public static void main ESVM ESVM. Please work. Okay. PSVM, public static void main. Please don't stop. Please don't stop. Public static void main. Someone found something. I'll write it. Yeah, now we get it. Public static void main. Now inside that public static void main, we will give we will declare a variable double. Right. In this double variable val1, we will take a value which we want to convert into dollar, right? Which we want to convert into a dollar. So this time I'll take 77.77. Okay, this is my float value. Semicolon, and then in the next line, we will create an object then. We'll create an object. Not an object, a variable, okay, a variable e equal to, in which we are going to store the converted value, right? Converted string, in which we are going to store the converted string, which we converted into dollar. We are converting this 77 into dollar, right? So in this EE variable, a string variable, we will store that. So for that, we need to mention the method, sorry, class, and then the method name. What was the method name again? KK, right? KK was the method name. With the help of this class name and method, we will pass value to this. So that value is in the val1 variable. Val1 variable. We will pass the value. Alright. And then with the help of this print statement, SOUT system output println, we will print our output. So dollar is plus and the variable name e in which the output is stored, right? And if you want to confirm that, if you want to confirm that our program is right or not, right? We check our program is right or not, so that we will run our program. Right click and run as main. Wait until it will compile. Come on, start compiling. Okay, now it is building, right? You can see in the bottom that blue line. You see it is building. It is building. Okay, come on. Give us the output. Give us the output. Give us the output. Come on. That's why I was not using this IntelliJ because my PC is not getting that much power, the processing power. Somehow. That's why I was working on that online GDP. Work. Anyway, till it get built, I'll make you introduce to the today's topic. Okay, today's topic. What was the today's topic then? Access control. Come on, build it first. Now access control, right? We have already studied access control in previous lectures, but still why we are learning it now. This package, this access control, uh, you see, this access control will help you to manage your files, to manage your class inside a package. Like which things can access it, which of those classes, which of those methods can access your program, or sorry, class, the package class. You see, we have seen this array method, right? Arrays class. The arrays class we have used in the previous unit. So what was happening in that? In that arrays method, only arrays can be operated, right? Using that arrays class, only arrays could have operated, right? Because that class contained some static methods. That arrays class contains some static methods by which you can only access the static methods. I mean the arrays. You can only access the arrays. Alright. That's why the access control is necessary to limit the control of your program. Nothing is working. Guys, let's do one thing, no? Let it get. I mean, the process is same, okay? The process is same. This is how you will create a package and you will implement it. And there was no error in programming. This is how you will create a package using Intel. But for now, you can see my PC is not working at all because of that process. So I need to stop it. I need to stop compiling over here only. Okay. Let it be. This is how you will create a package. Okay, this is the basic method. I mean, this is the basic style how you will create a package. Okay, for you guys, take the screenshot of this first. This package, create this package in your IntelliJ. All right, and then do one thing is after creating this package, go for this, create this class, MHD class, and then try to compile it. Take screenshot of both these programs. First the package one, package class, take the screenshot of it. And then take the screenshot of this MSD file. Okay, and try to create this package by your own in your personal PC. Because you see, my PC is not supporting it right now because I'm recording the class at the same time, working on the IntelliJ at the same time, and presenting the class. That's why. Hope you understand. Okay. So before that, just tell me one thing. You guys got the notice for exams? Like when are your exams? Huh? You guys got the notice where when are your exams? July. July is the dates are confirmed? July first week. Oh shit. Okay. I can understand. Just a notice, like from official university notice or what? Like a official university notice. Official. Okay. Let me know if my screen is visible to you guys. Okay, in university website too. Okay then. So we have to increase our pace then. Which exams, by the way, like this semester exam or the third semester exam? Because I spoke with some first year students. They were saying like first year universities exams are. I mean, first semester university exams are there. So I'm confused for you guys also. Are these for fourth semester exams or third semester exams? Like in the first week of July. I got totally confused because of that first year thing. Okay. Means fourth semester. Fine. Second year, second semester. Let's get back to uh, today's topic then, which is access control and packages in Java. Access control. Okay, sure. Fine. Access level modifier whether other classes can use a particular field or invoke a particular method. Means if you add access modifiers, if you add access modifiers to your classes or methods or variables, it will decide it will decide that other classes components or the class itself can access your class or not. Access your class or the components of your class or not. It will be totally decided by this access modifier. So by applying the access modifier, be careful, think about it. Think about it. Alright. So this access level modifier affects your programming language. First is when you use classes that are from another source. When you use classes that are from another source, such as a class in the Java platform, access level determines which level of those classes you can access. Alright? Just like the what is it, just like the math class, not math, you haven't been to math class. Mm, okay, we'll take the example of arrays class itself because we are dealing with arrays a lot, right? With class, let's take an example of that arrays class. Okay, so with the help of that arrays class, we can access only arrays, right? We can access only arrays. So we can access that arrays class in any of our program, right? Whichever program we create, which means that arrays class should be public, right? That arrays class should be public, and methods in that class, right? Those methods should be public also, right? Because we can access it in any other program, in any other program. But with only arrays itself we can use it, which means there should be a keyword static also, right? Because we can only access the arrays. So there should be a keyword called static. Because of that static only we can access arrays, not any other thing, not string, not list, only arrays. But you can access those methods, that class, arrays class, and inside methods anywhere in your program, in any other package. Why? Because this arrays class is a public class. So this is how your access modifier will affect your program. Okay, the second way, when you write a class, you need to decide what access level every member variable or method in your class should have. Which means, in some cases, you design a method. In some cases, you design a method which shall be used in the same class itself. Not accessed by any other. If your class is public, okay. If your class is public and inside that class you have declared a method, and that method can only be accessed inside your class only, not any other class, not in your package or in this world. Just the same class in which the method is declared. Okay. In those cases, this access modifiers can become in handy. Right? Just use this private modifier, then your method will be limited. The scope of your method will be in the same class only. Right? Will be in the same class only. It will not accessible outside your class by any other class in your package or any other package. Okay, this how in two ways this access modifier will affect your program. Okay. Then let's take an example. All right. Here we have two packages, package 1 and package 2. Okay. In package 1 we have one alpha class and one beta class. And in package 2 we have one alpha sub and gamma class. Two different packages. In one we have alpha class and alpha and beta classes, and in sub package we have two classes. Sorry, in package 2 we have two classes, which is alpha sub and gamma. But you see, this alpha sub is a subclass of alpha class. Okay, this alpha subclass is a subclass of alpha. You know, subclass means child class, right? Subclass means child class or any other class which is implementing the alpha. Can be called as a subclass. Okay, so this alpha class here itself, a parent class, considered as a parent class, and this sub alpha class is a child class. Alright. So now let's see how it works. How does it work? This following table will determine where the members of alpha class are visible for each of the access modifier that can be applied to them. Okay, this table shows that. This table shows that which access modifier will be applied to, can be applied to those of the classes. Alright, this access this table will tell you that which access modifier can be applied to which class. Okay, so for as a public, right? For public, This alpha, beta, and alpha class and gamma class. Okay. Don't go on this table. It will just confuse you. Which is public, which is protected. It will just confuse you. Okay. Just look at the table simply. Just look at the table. Just look at the table. You see, notice one thing. Notice one thing that in one package one there is one alpha class, and in package two there is a child class of your alpha class. Which means alpha can be a public class, right? Which means alpha class can be a public class, because in other package also you can access it, right? That's why it could be a public class, right? Only a public class can show this behavior. And you see the beta class. In the beta class itself, it could be a default class, right? It could be a default class, or it could be a private class. It could be a default class, or it could be a private class, because it can be the scope of this class exists in the same package itself, in the same package only. Right? These all four class are different, but it just alpha subclass is child class of alpha. And you see both alpha and sub alpha are from different packages. Alpha and sub alpha are from different packages, right? Which means my alpha class should be a public class. So that only I can create another class in some different package, a child class. Right? So that by concluding that, we can conclude this alpha class must be a public one. Right? But when it's come to beta and gamma class, the scope of these two classes is within the same package itself. Right? So this could be a private class or a default class, right? It could be a private class or a default class. Alright? So depending upon the access level, you can decide which methods or which entities of your class can be accessible within the class or outside the class or outside the package or in the whole world. Okay, this access level will decide that. This is the significance of access level for a package. Okay, for a package. Understood this much? Understood this much or not? Or you guys got bored? I know it's a total theoretical lecture. You have to deal with a couple of more theoretical lectures, okay? So please try to pay some attention. Do you guys understood or not? Okay, Parvati. Okay, Lakshmi. Okay, Samya. Okay, Shanti. Okay, Lamanya. Okay, Pooja. Great then. Let's see what are the packages we have in our Java SE. What are the packages we have in the Java SE? Java SE means Java Standard Edition file. Java SE means Java Standard Edition file. Like there are several classes. There are several classes in Java. Sorry, there are several packages in Java SE. Okay, there are several packages in Java SE. We cannot deal every package in one class. Every package in one class. Every package, because there are a lot of packages for every what do you say, for every type of program, every type of functionality, there is one different package. All right. So we already know what is package, right? We already know the package. So let's see what are the packages we have in Java SE. Okay. So first is Java.applet. Okay. First is Java.applet. Okay. If the font is what is it? If the font is not visible, no, please zoom in. Okay. Okay, first one is java.applet, okay, which provide a class necessary to create applets. And used to communicate with the applet, okay. It will help you in create API. The applets, no? Applets will create help you in real application building. Real application building. In those cases, you guys will be making use of applet, Java.applet package. And then when it's come to AWT, when you are dealing with this graphical user interface, when you are dealing with graphical user interface, in those programs, in those cases, you will make use of this Java.awt, Java.awt package. And then comes Java.io, our Java.io package. It will provide you system input and output to data stream serialization and the file system. Okay, this system input output functions when it's come to data streaming, right? A continuous flow of data, and then serialization of data, and then file system. So in those cases where you have to deal with this all three types of data structures, means data streams and serialization and file system. So in those cases, you will make use of this Java.io package, and then comes the Java.lang. Java.lang provide the fundamental design of a Java program, fundamental programs, fundamental stuff, all the fundamental classes, right? All the fundamental classes for basic programming, right? For the all basic programming, all the classes will be provided by this Java.lang package. Language, its full name is language, but while writing we type Java.lang. Okay. Then comes a Java.math package. So it will provide you all the classes which you will requiring in arithmetic operations. In those cases, you guys will be making use of that Java.math. There's another class, another package called Java.strictmath. Java.strictmath. Okay, MATH, math. That class is a very strict class. It provides mathematical function only. But you see, that's a very strict class which deal with bitwise bit conversion. Okay, bit by bit conversion, bit by bit manipulation means accurate answer, total accurate answer. So in that cases, you will make use of that Java.strict math package. But there is some relaxation. When there is some relaxation, just make use of this Java.math class. It will be enough. Okay, then comes Java.net package. This Java.net package will help you when you are dealing with networking application. Okay, when you are dealing with the networking application, you will make use of the Java.net package. And then come SQL, Java.SQL. You see this Java.SQL, SQL deal with the all data structure part. SQL, as the name says, SQL. It will deal with the all SQL parts in which we have to deal with data and all and all. In those cases, you can implement this Java. Then utility, Java.utility, or you can say Java.util package. Can take the collection framework, internationalization, support class, service loader, properties, and many more functions can be provided with the Java utility class. Alright. So these are the few of the packages. Okay, not everything. These are just what to say single percent or just couple of percent of packages in our Java SE, in our Java standard IDE. Okay, we cannot cover everything, but what are the main like whatever you need to know now. I just told you. Okay, these are a few packages in the Java SE, Java Standard Edition. Alright. So this was all about today's class. Okay, total theoretical class. Tomorrow also theoretical class. Okay, so if you feel bored, just deal with it, guys. Okay, just deal with it. Fine then. There's only one thing left now, which is this feedback. I have provided you guys with one feedback link. Okay, I'll request every one of you to please go on the feedback link and provide me some feedback for today's class. Okay, I'll request every one of you please go on the feedback link and provide me some feedback for today's class. After feedback, just give a thumbs up in the chat box.